What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some quick boxing news. I just read an article about Juan Manuel Marquez, and I hate to say it again, but I told you so. So, in boxing, in the sport of boxing particularly, you get a lot of fans who are really tribal, and based on their nationality, that heavily influences their thought process, I guess you could say. And some of you guys aren't realistic. Now, as far as Juan Manuel Marquez, I really like Marquez. He's one of my favorites. He's a student of the game. He's coached by Nacho Beristain, legendary trainer. He has heart, he has power, and he's a very technical boxer. So I really like Marquez, always have. I even did a video on here saying a fantasy match would be to see Marquez and Eric Morales fight in their primes. I think that would have been a hell of a matchup, and I would have loved to have seen that. But for whatever reason, that fight didn't happen. So check that video. I'll try to add it to the video responses. However, Marquez was on a show that was televised in Mexico, and he revealed that a rematch with Floyd Mayweather Jr. is certainly not part of his future plans. Marquez, as you guys know, he's 39. He's 55 and 6 losses with 1 draw and 40 knockouts. So definitely an impressive record. I would liken him to some of the old fighters of the day. You can tell by how many fights he has and how many KOs and stuff like that. He definitely hasn't ducked anyone that I know of. And I told you guys, Marquez knows I think he's a very smart person inside that ring. And when it comes to boxing, I think he's really smart. He's been fighting for quite some time. I don't even know the exact number, but he's been fighting quite some time. And I was reading a lot of things after the Pacquiao knockout, and they were like, oh, Marquez versus Mayweather 2. And I told many of people that Marquez is not going to want that fight because the first fight was very one-sided. And Floyd Mayweather Jr., the only arguing point that I've ever heard is the fact that he came in overweight. And it's kind of like, I agree, he paid the fine and whatnot, he shouldn't have came in overweight. But he also had things against him, which was a 2-year layoff. He was off for almost 2 years, inactive from the sport of boxing because he retired, then unretired. And his first fight back is Marquez, who's a legend in the game. So that's one thing that's funny to me when people say stuff about resume or bring up the 4 pounds. They're like, oh, he weighed 4 pounds more. Well, Pacquiao weighed 4 pounds more in the Marquez versus Pacquiao 4 fight, and we've seen what happened with Pacquiao, even though he weighed 4 more pounds. So it's not always about weight, especially when you get a technically sound boxer like Juan Manuel Marquez, who knows how to fight bigger guys that are faster or stronger than him. The fact of the matter is, Marquez has a style that benefits him more against fighters who are aggressive, that are going to come forward, that are going to throw a lot of punches like a Pacquiao. That's why after the Pacquiao loss, every Pacquiao loss, Marquez was chasing Pacquiao, and he was wearing t-shirts saying, I beat Pacquiao 2 or 3 times, or whatever the shirt said. He was chasing Pacquiao because he knew in his heart that he could beat this dude, or he felt he should have won the previous fights. But as you guys can see, he's pretty adamant about not fighting Mayweather Jr., and that's a reason because he knows that Mayweather Jr. he's on a different level skill-wise. Even on the Pacquiao and Marquez were on First Take, ESPN show, Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, and Marquez said, I think Mayweather beats Pacquiao. And he also said, the defense. He was saying that Mayweather is the most superior fighter he's ever seen or fought defensively. He has an incredible defense. So, again, Marquez doesn't want those problems. And I like both guys. I like Mayweather Jr. and I like Marquez a lot. I mean, they're boxing to me. Like, they're boxing, the sweet science. But, again, I just had to say I told you so because this is coming from Marquez. He says he has no interest in a rematch with Mayweather Jr. And that's because he knows it. I mean, Will it be different from the first fight? Possibly. But in the end, I don't see him beating Mayweather Jr. unless Mayweather has definitely lost a step from going to jail and being inactive, or age has finally caught up with him, or whatever the situation. But style-wise, that's not a good look for Marquez, and he wouldn't want to. And I've been telling you, a lot of guys were like, oh, Marquez needs a rematch Mayweather, he'll knock him out and stuff like that. Like, where are you guys getting this from? What makes you feel that Marquez is going to knock him out? And if you watch the Pacquiao fight, Pacquiao has always fought that way. Reckless, come in, be at an awkward angle to the point where he's off balance. And he kind of ran into Marquez's right. So a combination, it was like a culmination of Pacquiao being off balance and running in defenseless with no guard up, and Marquez timing his right hand very short, and that's what destroyed Pacquiao. But can you honestly picture Floyd Mayweather Jr. coming in reckless and wild to the point where he has no defense and no guard and getting caught with the shot that Pacquiao got caught with? I don't see it because, again, Floyd Mayweather is perhaps one of the most defensive fighters of all time. And that's with including James Toney's and Bernard Hopkins and other fighters of all time. So, again, that's not a good style matchup for Marquez. Again, I think he would be better suited against a fighter with less technical abilities than Floyd Mayweather Jr. So he recently said on the talk show that he's not even pursuing, that's not even on his list of options. He doesn't even know if he's going to continue fighting, but Mayweather Jr., he does know that he has no plans of fighting him again. So just to silence some of the critics and the people who are like requesting a Mayweather versus Marquez fight, there's really no point. Again, the first one was one-sided. You can use the 4 pounds all you want. It's similar to the Adrian Broner versus Escobedo fight. Adrian Broner, I didn't agree, and I didn't like how he didn't even attempt to make weight, even after failing the weight. But honestly, in your honest opinion, do you think the outcome of that fight would have been much different had Adrian Broner made weight? And the answer is no. I mean, I still see him beating a fighter like Escobedo. I don't see Escobedo being that much at a disadvantage based solely on the weight. I think it was an issue more or less with the skill level, the power, the speed, and the technical ability. So, same thing with Mayweather versus Marquez. I still see Mayweather beating Marquez because they're, in essence, very similar in style. They're technical fighters. They rely on counter shots, but Mayweather's quicker and he has a reach advantage and that kind of thing. So that's just my statement. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Do you want to see Marquez versus Mayweather part 2? Who do you want to see Marquez fight? Do you want to see Marquez hanging him up? Hang up the gloves? Let me know something. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Until next video, it's Ego signing off.